students, today I am in the new session of the prose part, that is lesson 5, Father Dear Father. This is the first lesson in the prose. As per our sequence, it is the 5th lesson. Right. Let's get into the lesson. Father Dear Father. When do we hear this salutation? Dear. Yes, it is in a letter. Father, dear father. In this lesson, we see that a son is writing a letter to his father. Let's see what he is writing the letter about. Okay, let's get into the lesson. This is half the segment first. Then we have the question and answers. Firstly, I'll explain the first half. Then we will go with the question and answers. Nextly, we will go with the second segment and then we will go with the question and answers. I'll give you some time to take the screenshot. Take the screenshot and then you can use it for your writing works. Come on, let's get into the lesson. Before that, my humble request, please subscribe our channel. It takes a lot of efforts to make these videos. Just subscribe our channel and share with as many friends as possible. This will really strengthen us, this will really help us, and this will give us the fruits for our hard work. Thank you so much for subscribing. Now let's get into the lesson. Dear Papa, Papa means Daddy. Dear Papa, this is in answer to your letter about my transgression. Transgression, what do you mean by transgression? Here we have the glossary here beside our lesson. There we can see transgression means doing wrong or violation of a code. That is a mistake. Transgression means a mistake. There are some laws, some rules already kept. If you don't follow that, if you fail to follow, that is called a transgression. Okay. This is in answer to your letter about my transgression. That is, father has written a letter before. Okay, and in this letter he has written about something which the son has failed to do. Okay, some rules were there, the son did not do. What is that target or what is that rule? Let us see. Yes, my first rank slipped to the second. Actually, the son is the topper of the class. He always gets first rank. But this time he has got the second rank. So the father has written a letter to the son telling about the second rank. Why son, why have you taken second rank? You should be the topper. You should be the first rank holder. Like that the father has written a letter. For that the son is writing a reply letter. Okay. And then in that letter, what he is telling, you advise that I should think before studying, before answering the papers. The father had written in that letter that the son has to think before answering so that he can avoid silly mistakes. Okay, so that he can score good marks. Okay, yes, the operating word think did make me muse. Muse, what do you mean by muse? Here you have in the glossary, muse means reflect or think over. So when you told the word think before you write, think before you answer the questions, that made me really think, yes daddy, I should think before I write the answer, says the son. And these are the results of those musings. So when I read your letter daddy, you told that I should think before answering. When I read that letter, I got some knowledge and wisdom. I started thinking. So now whatever letter I am going to write is all because of your advice. What advice did the father give? To think before answering. Okay, let us see what the son got after reading the letter. What all thoughts he got. Father, we have never really been close and I can't rightly say you have been my friend, philosopher, guide, etc. So this son says, Daddy, you haven't been close to me. You haven't shared the relation of a friend. A friend means an equal position you never gave me. You were never a philosopher. Philosopher means speaking philosophies. Philosophies means it's not the ordinary things which ordinary people think, ordinary people speak. Philosophy is something more than that. That small children do not understand. As they grow up, they have the philosophies of life, philosophies of future, philosophy that is beyond the ordinary people. That is called philosophical. Okay, neither were you a friend to me, nor were you a philosopher, nor were you a guide to me. You never guided me what to take, what not to take. You were just a person who would always put strategies for me, targets, goals, take first rank, score these many marks, do this. That is what you have done to me. You were never a guide. Guide in the sense when something happens wrong in our life. Someone who tells what to do next, how to solve the problem, how to come out of it. Such a person is called a guide. So he says, you were never a friend, nor were you a guide, nor were you a philosopher. Yet, I would like you to be aware of my musings. Though all these things are there, I want to tell that I have always respected you and I have taken your advice. Which advice? To think. Okay, to think before answering, to take time. All this I have taken into mind. They are very important to me. Your words are very important to me. He says, you are highly educated and you provide very well for the family. Provide means giving money. You give us so much money for our expenses. For whatever we require, you take care of the family expenses. But in your departmental store, do you apply Pythagoras theorem or Newton's law of gravity? Here children, this can be said Pythagoras or Pythagoras. It's a proper noun. It can be pronounced either way. Okay. So here he says you run a departmental store. In that departmental store means this like a small supermarket. Okay, in which all the provisions and some stationery, all these things are sold. That is called a departmental store. You run a departmental store. In that departmental store, do you apply Pythagoras theorem or Newton's law of gravity? Is asking him. For that matter, does your doctor friend or your lawyer brother, does your doctor friend use the Pythagoras theorem or Newton's law of gravity? Or does your brother who is a lawyer use the Pythagoras theorem and Newton's law of gravity? He is asking. Actually, what he wants to tell is whatever we are reading is in no way connected to the practical world. Yet we are reading, he says. Okay, and then Papa, my grandfather speaks of a carefree and beautiful childhood. Actually, this boy is staying with his grandfather and grandmother, that is his grandparents, and his father stays far away from him. So what he says is his grandfather, he tells of the stories of his childhood stories. Carefree means not so much of responsibilities, so much of targets, so much of results. All these things are not there. Carefree means very jovial, very happy. And beautiful childhood. The childhood of the grandpa was very beautiful, it seems. Of days spent in plucking mangoes and guavas from their jameen. So he says his grandfather tells how he used to pluck mangoes and guavas from the jameen means orchard. Big all the trees are there, fruit trees are there. That is called the jameen. A big farm is called a jameen. Of picnics on the banks of rivers. How they had a picnic. Picnic means a small excursion. A small outing is called a picnic, where they went to swim in the rivers. Okay, on the river banks, where the men cooked mouth-watering food. So during the picnics, the men they cooked the food, delicious food. Of playing marbles and gilli danda. You all know gilli danda, I think. Gilli danda is a native Indian game where there are one small stick, one big stick. That is similar to cricket. Okay, so he says there we used to play marbles. Marbles means goti. We say goti. Marbles and gilli danda, they used to play it since. So the grandfather tells the grandson about his childhood days. From his talk, it seems studies were an ancillary subject. Ancillary, what does ancillary mean? Here in the glossary we have the meaning. Ancillary means secondary or additional. So in their life, that is in the grandfather's life, education was a secondary or an additional thing. For them, the primary thing was enjoying life. learning life lessons. That is the primary thing. Secondary was education, ranks, marks, all these were additional qualifications for them. Okay, and living and experiencing the major subject for them. The major subject was living the life, experiencing the life, enjoying the life was the major subject. And this, father, is he fibbling? Fibbing? Is he fibbing? Fibbing. What do you mean by fibbing? Fibbing means telling a trivial lie. Fibbing means tricking. Fibbing means tricking, telling a lie. Telling a lie, or you can say, is he tricking also? Is he playing a trick, daddy, by telling all those things? Is he trying to manipulate my mindset? What is he trying to do? He is asking. And then, father, is he fibbing? Or is it possible that the world turned topsy-turvy in just about 70 years? What do you mean by topsy-turvy? Topsy-turvy means upside down. Here in the glossary you can see topsy-turvy means upside down. Upside down means ulta-balta. That is what we say. Everything has changed here and there. Okay, so he says, daddy, is he telling a lie or has the world itself changed? In those days, in grandpa's days, those days were like that. And within 70 years, there is such a tremendous change and all the people started giving education. That is marks, grades, the first place, and experiencing and enjoying the second place. Is it like that, daddy? He is asking a question. Papa, my grandmother is semi-literate. Semi-literate means not so much educated, neither illiterate. She can read and write. That is semi-literate. My grandmother is semi-literate, yet she is at peace with her pots, pans, her flowers and garden, her Bhagavad Gita and scriptures. Though she is semi-literate, she is not worried. She is happy with her pots and pans, means cooking work. Okay, all the kitchen work, she is happy. She has a small garden. In that she grows some flowers, some vegetables. She enjoys doing the gardening work and she also devotes her work in spending time with God, reading the Bhagavad Gita and the scriptures. She is happy. My mother, highly qualified. Now look how he gives the contrast. Grandma is semi-literate. Okay, mummy is highly qualified, is highly strung. What do you mean by strung? Here you can see the meaning here in the glossary. Strung means nervous and easily upset, easily disturbed. Okay, for little things they are upset. They get very tensed. They have so many thoughts one after the other. My mother is highly qualified, is highly strung, tense and nervy. Always she is nervy, tensed about tomorrow. Do you think literacy is a harbinger? What do you mean by harbinger? Something that foretells the coming of something. So he thinks here, what is the difference between grandma and mummy? Mummy is educated, so she is very nervous and tense. Grandma is semi-literate, she is very happy. So what is the difference? Education is the difference. Is education the disturbing tool? Yeah, harbinger means what causes disturbance, which is telling about the future. Yeah, yes, is a harbinger of restlessness, fear and frustration. So he says, is education such a thing which is creating all these elements of fear? Frustration means anger. Frustrated means anger, irritation. Okay. Frustrated means irritated or angry. Okay, so is this a harbinger which makes people get frustrated and afraid, frightened of the future, and it makes them restless. Restless means no peace. No peace means always worried. Okay, no peace at heart is called no peaceful. Okay, not at all peaceful. That's called restlessness. Okay, is it Adam and Eve eating the tree of knowledge all over again? He says, is this knowledge like Adam and Eve eating the tree of knowledge, eating the fruit of tree of knowledge? Actually, in the Bible there is a story where they say that God created Adam and Eve, and they did not have any knowledge or wisdom, and God told Adam and Eve not to eat the fruits of two trees. Okay, he said, this whole world is yours. Any fruit you can eat, you can do anything, but don't eat the fruits of these two trees. One is the tree of knowledge and other is the tree of life. Okay, he says, and then a serpent comes. Serpent means a snake comes, and it tempts this Eve to eat the fruit of knowledge. It says that if you eat the fruit of knowledge, you will become knowledgeable, you will become intelligent. Okay, and this Eve gets tempted and she eats the fruit of knowledge. As soon as she eats the fruit of knowledge, she gets the knowledge, what is what to do, what not to do, everything she gets to know, and then there starts all the trouble. Okay, and then till then they were enjoying their life very innocently. After Eve got the knowledge, she shared that fruit with Adam. Adam also ate the fruit of knowledge, and he also got aware of whatever was happening around him, and he became very knowledgeable. That was the starting of trouble for him also, and with them started the entire world. So the trouble started from Adam and Eve eating the fruit of tree of knowledge. Okay, so he says, is it Adam and Eve eating the tree of knowledge all over again? Once they ate, trouble started. Now again if they eat, the trouble is double. Okay, is it like trouble being double, daddy? Is knowledge such a is education such a thing which is doubling the trouble? He says. Okay, let's get into the question and answers now. The first question here is, what is the transgression the boy refers to? So here the question is in present tense. So answer also should be in present tense. So how we answer is, the transgression the boy refers to is the slide or slip. Here they have written. We can even write slide. Okay, is his slide from first rank to second rank. So generally children, it is not advisable to use numbers. Don't use 1 and like this. Don't use like this. Instead of it, write it in words. That is always better in English. On to the next question. What advice does the father give to his son? Okay, what advice does the father give? The father advises him to think before studying and before answering the papers, that you have in the first paragraph itself. Okay, the father advises. What advice does the father give to his son? The father advises his son to think before studying and answer. Now you can write think before studying and to think before answering the papers, or you can say think before studying and answering the papers, or think before studying and before answering the papers. Anything is correct. And before answering the papers. The father advises his son to think before studying and before answering the papers. Yes, on to the next question. What type of relation does the boy expect from his father? Here in the second para you see, we have never really been close, and I can't rightly say you have been my friend, philosopher, guide, etc. So he says the father is not close. That means he expects the father to be a very close person. So what can you say? The boy expects the father to be close as a friend, a philosopher, and a guide. On to the the next question. What does the boy's grandfather speak of? What does his grandfather speak of? So he's speaking of carefree and beautiful childhood, and when you have the semicolon, that means that is the same as it is this sentence only, another sentence also, which also means the first sentence. Okay, so this is an expansion. What is the carefree life? That is days spent in plucking mangoes and guavas, picnics on banks of river, and all these things are the or something related to the first sentence. Okay, and then on to the next question. What does the boy say about his mother? What does he say? How is his mother? The boy says that his mother is highly qualified, highly educated also you can say, highly qualified, highly strong, tensed and nervous. On to the next question. What does literacy bring according to the boy? According to the boy, what does it bring? You can see in the last line. Literacy is a harbinger of restlessness, fear and frustration. So according to him, education is bringing restlessness, fear and frustration. Okay. So here we can say, according to the boy, education brings restlessness, fear and frustration. Now you can take a screenshot if you want, so that you can answer these questions. Now we come to the segment 2. Okay, let's get started. Oh Papa, last week my rose plant almost died. So this boy has a rose plant. Okay, so he says he had a rose plant, and the last week it almost died, means it did not die. It was coming to the stage of dying. Maybe it was wilting up, it was drying up, it was going to die. Some pests. What was the reason? Some pests. Pests means insects. Pests means insects. Okay, some pests. The reason was some pests had infected the plant. Okay, and then I asked my biology teacher what I should do to save it. So he thought that it is right to ask the biology teacher, because she is the one who teaches botany, wherein she teaches about plants. Maybe she might know how to save the rose plant from dying. So he went and asked his biology teacher, and she was cross. What do you mean by cross? Here you have the meaning. Cross means annoyed and angry. How did the teacher react? She was very angry with this boy. She was thinking that he was trying to test her. He was trying to prank her. He was trying to tease her. Okay. So how did she respond? And she was cross. And what did she say? She said, go and ask the guy who keeps gardening things. So she asked this boy to go and ask the gardener or the one who has a nursery, who sells plants and all. So go and ask that man, he might tell you. Or somebody who makes the gardening things and all, who is interested or who is involved in gardening, go and ask them, she said. The reason might be she doesn't know the answer. She is not sure about the answer, or she has never thought that a child would practically ask such a question. All she knows is the theoretical knowledge. Maybe these are all the reasons. And then he will tell you, she said. we learn about pesticides, but we do not know to use them. So he says, my teacher teaches about so many pesticides, that is theoretical knowledge, bookish knowledge, but she doesn't know to guide me which pesticide to use so that my rose plant would live. So he says, we learn so many things, but we don't know how to put them in use, how to use them in our day-to-day life. And then, oh Father, it matters not to me why the apple does not fall upward, nor do I care what Archimedes did. So here he says, now you know the apple fall upward or downward is about Newton's theory of gravity. Newton was once sitting under a tree, then the apple fell on his head, then he thought, why is this apple falling down? Why is it not going upward? Then he invented or discovered the law of gravity. The earth has gravity, so the apple is falling downwards. Okay, so this is the law of gravity. He says, I let the apple fall downwards or upwards. Doesn't matter to me. Okay, and I don't care what Archimedes did. You all know Archimedes? Archimedes says when something goes into water, the water displaced is equal to the mass of the object which goes inside the water. These are all scientific theories. Okay, I don't bother about what Archimedes did. He says, what matters to me is that my rose plants remain healthy. So what he says, all that matters to me, all that is important to me is that my rose plant should be healthy. And then when there is a fuse in my house, fuse means sometimes the fuse goes, they say, when we use a high voltage, something goes wrong in the electrical circuit, the fuse blows up. And then we have to, if anyone has some knowledge about these electrical devices and those circuits and all, they go and fix it and immediately our power comes. Our power resumes. Okay, there is a power cut if the fuse is blown up, and once they go and set right, the power comes up. So he says, when there is a fuse in my house, I should know to do something about it. I should know how to fix the things and get the power to my house. I should know to make a desk for myself from my carpenter's tools. I have some tools in my house, suppose, and if there is some wood, I should know how to make a bench or a desk using those tools and the wood. That is what I want. Actually, this boy says that I want practical knowledge. How I can use the knowledge gained from the books in my day-to-day usage. Whatever I want to do, if that knowledge which I gain from my books is useful, then it is useful. Otherwise, how much ever I learn and I can't put into use, what is the use of that knowledge, he says. And then instead I learn about hypotenuse, relational square roots, all these theoretical knowledge I learn. Papa, once I asked grandmother how she got to be so wise. So this boy says, once he asked his grandma how she is so wise. Wise means there's a difference between knowledge and wise, wisdom. Okay, knowledge means getting information. All the things, information is knowledge. Wise means wisdom. Wisdom means distinguishing between right and wrong, good and bad, what to do, what not to do. That is called being wise or wisdom. Okay, so he is telling, he asked his grandma how she became so wise. Do you know what she said? By living and experiencing. What was her answer? Living and experiencing. Here also you see the grandpa. What does he say? Living and experiencing. That was a primary subject. Grandma also learned things by living and experiencing. And then what he says is, and she laughed as though I had asked something which was so obvious. So this, according to grandma, this is very natural thing. And why is this boy asking me as a doubt? So she thought it is so funny and she started laughing. Are we living, Papa? Now he is asking a question, a direct question to his daddy. Are we living, Papa? Or are we just existing? And then he says, or is life bypassing us? So he says, is the life taking us ahead? Or are we finding shortcuts to live the life the way we want it to be? Okay, are we just running and rushing and going ahead? What I fear is that if I were to meet Newton face to face, what is saying? If I get a chance to meet Newton face to face, I would fail to recognize him. I don't know his appearance, so maybe I can't recognize him. I can't say hi Newton because I don't know who he is. Okay, and then so busy am I learning about him. I am very busy learning about Newton's theories of gravity, principles of Newton's laws. All these I am learning. But if he comes in front of me, maybe I cannot recognize him. He says, just like that boy Vinu in the award-winning film. He prattles. What do you mean by prattles? Here we see in the glossary, prattles means repeat the same thing again and again. Generally, when children mug up these, what is this, tables in the first standard, second standard, what is that? Repeats meaninglessly. Prattles means repeats meaninglessly. That is, when children learn the tables in the first and the second stanza, they go on, 2 ones are 2, 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 twos are 4. They don't know why they are learning. They learn because they should learn. They must learn. They have to write in the exam. Okay. So he says, we prattle. Okay, in that movie, this boy called Vinu prattles. Prattles means goes on repeatedly telling the hibiscus is red, hibiscus is red, hibiscus is red. That way he mugs up. He is learning by heart 100 times. He is going on mugging up that one. But in his book, he colors it yellow. But where there is a picture of a shoe flower and he has to color it. Actually, he has mugged up. He has learnt by heart that hibiscus is red. So what color should he put in that flower picture? He should put red color. But what color is he putting? Yellow color. He is filling the yellow color. That means he is learning. But he doesn't know where to put that learnt knowledge. Actually, he should use what is hibiscus color. Hibiscus is red. So he should color the hibiscus flower red. But he is not doing so. So the knowledge that he learnt or whatever he mugged up, he is unable to use in his day-to-day life. And then, are we missing out on the essence of life? Papa, that's what happens in my craft and drawing class. So he says we are missing the essence. Essence means the happiness. Essence means real happiness, real meaning. Okay, are we missing the real essence? Okay, essence means happiness or meaning. Okay, so what he says, are we missing out on the essence of life? Papa, that's what happens in my craft and drawing class. My imagination wants to soar. What do you mean by soar? Soar means fly to great heights. That is, fly to great heights. That is, you might have seen an eagle. How does the eagle, where does the eagle fly? The eagle doesn't fly at the short distance, short height. What does it do? It goes high above, and then it doesn't flap its wings. Okay, all flapping, everything is done. It just goes. It gives that slight, smooth move, glide in the sky. That is called soaring. Where does it soar? In the great heights. So he says, when I am in the drawing and the crafts class, my imagination goes to great heights. I just fly like an eagle. Not me. My imagination flies like an eagle. My imagination wants to soar like a rocket. I want to go very high to Jupiter and Mars, not on Earth, to the other planets, to transverse new worlds, new fields. So he wants to go beyond the Earth and explore new things. But does it happen? No, there is a limited thing. We are supposed to do that, and we are supposed to do whatever the instructions are given. So everything is restricted in my world, he says. So I am bound to do only certain things. I am confined. I am made to do only certain things. I am not allowed to go with my imagination, he says. Anyway, Papa, do you know where I lost that quarter mark that brought about my fall? So he says, he explains about the rank. He got the second rank instead of first rank. Where did he miss? How many marks did he miss the first rank by? He missed the first rank by just quarter mark, 1/4 mark. Quarter means 1/4. Okay, I missed it by quarter mark that brought about my fall. It was a fill in the blank. Where he lost that quarter mark is in the fill in the blank. What is that fill in the blank? I held that he was invited to tea and my teacher was adamant. Adamant means stubborn, unyielding, inflexible. Adamant means he was stubborn in that. He was fixed to what? That he was invited for tea. So actually there was a blank, fill in the blank. In that blank it was, he was invited. The blank was like this, he was invited dash tea. Okay, this boy wrote 2. Okay, and according to the teacher, 2 is wrong. What should it be? 4 should be the answer. With that he lost the quarter mark. Okay, so he says that he was in, and the teacher was adamant. The teacher was not at all ready to listen that this is the correct answer. The teacher said that he was invited for tea is only the correct answer. So he reduced the marks. Okay, so that is why he got the second rank. Okay, a matter of grammar. Just because of a small grammar mistake, I lost the quarter mark, he says. And Papa, if he says George Bush is the president of India, it will have to be so. If he says the sun rises in the west, so be it. And if he says the earth is flat, it will be. It will be, my Papa. So he says, if the teacher says George Bush, you know George Bush? George Bush is not the president of India. If he says George Bush is the president of India, we have to accept it. If he says the sun rises in the west, does it rise in the west? Sun rises actually in the east. But if the teacher says sun rises in the west is only correct answer, we have to accept it. If he says the earth is flat, is the earth flat? No, the earth is a globe. If he says earth is flat, we have to accept it. We have no other go. What he says, if he has fixed in his mind that that is going to be the correct answer, we have to listen to him. We have to accept him. He says, at least on my answer papers, maybe not in reality, but in the answer paper, what he tells is the correct answer is only the correct answer. We can't argue with him. He says, my first rank is at stake. What do you mean by stake here? At risk to be lost. So my first rank is at risk. I can't get the first rank this time. My first rank is at stake, you see. Still, my dearest Papa, I shall keep your advice in mind and strive not to lose any quarter marks. Now look children, advice, A-D-V-I-C-E, advice is the noun form. Okay, I will take your advice. That is the noun form. Advice, A-D-V-I-S-E, is the verb form. My daddy advised me. Same meaning only. When you are using in the verb form, you should use A-D-V-I-S-E. When you are using in the noun form, listen to the advice of elders. That time you should use the C, A-D-V-I-C-E. Okay, so he says and he concludes the letter. Whatever it may be, daddy, I will definitely listen to your advice that I should think before answering. I should think before studying. Whatever advice you gave me, I will take it to my heart and I will put into practice, says the son. As always, your ever obedient son, Rahul. And then he says, your eyes will not see this anguished. Anguished means, look, anguished means expressing great mental pain. The anguish means full of pain. My heart is full of pain. I am feeling very painful when I think that whatever I am learning is of no use when it comes to my real life situations. I can't use those theories in my real life situations. So it pains a lot for me, he says. Your eyes will not see this anguished plea. Plea means request. Plea means request. Your eye can't see this anguished plea, the request. And then my father, this was only to lighten my overburdened heart. Lighten means to make it light. Lighten means to make light. Actually, my heart is fully burdened with all these questions, all these questions. My heart is fully burdened. It is very heavy. So I wanted to keep that burden down. That is why I wrote all these things, and as I put all the burden on this letter, all the burden came out, so the heart became light. Okay, so what he says, this was only to lighten my overburdened heart. It is not all arteries and muscles it feeds to. My heart is not just made of arteries and muscles, it is made of feelings too. So as these feelings were going on hurting me and troubling me and getting me disturbed, I just wanted to get rid of all those disturbances. That is why I have written this letter, he says. Now as I have written this letter, I am feeling little bit light, he says. Okay, so that's what all this letter was all about. So in this lesson we have understood that the boy is craving for the practical knowledge, the life skills to be taught in the school, and not to judge the children with their grades, marks, ranks, to give them the opportunity to expand their knowledge, to get to their innate skills, to explore their talents. Okay, let's get into the question answers now. On to the first question. Who did the boy approach when his rose plant almost died? Whom did he approach? Yes, he approached his biology teacher. When the boy's rose plant almost died, he approached his. Whom did he approach? We have it in the first paragraph. Whom did he approach? He approached his biology teacher. On to the next question. What was the suggestion he got to save his dying rose plant? What did the teacher suggest him? The suggestion he got to save his dying rose plant is to, what did the teacher suggest him? To ask the guy who keeps gardening things. To ask the guy who keeps gardening things. You can also write the suggestion he got to save his dying rose plant is. What was the suggestion is there? So we need to say was. The suggestion he got to save his dying rose plant was to ask the guy who keeps gardening things, or to approach a nursery. Nursery means where the plants are sold. Okay. On to the next question. What matters most to the boy? What does matter to him? He says, this Newton's laws don't matter to me. Archimedes' discoveries and inventions do not matter to me. What matters is his rose plant should be healthy. He should be able to repair the fuse or repair the electric circuit, and then he wants to make his desk. So you can say altogether, what matters to the boy the most is, matters to the boy the most is that he should be able to apply the knowledge gained from books in his day-to-day activities. And here you can add up the examples. Grow a healthy rose garden. Healthy rose garden. Set right the fuse. And one more thing, what does he want? Make his desk with the wood and tools. Okay, so he has to do it himself. Make his desk himself with the wood and tools without anyone's help. He should do it by himself. That is, you can also say make his desk himself also, you can say. Okay, anything can be without himself also, it is correct. Okay, on to the next question. How did the boy's grandmother become wise? How did she become wise? Now you can take a screenshot. I'll go with the next answers in the next segment. On to the next question. How did the boy's grandmother become wise? The boy's grandmother became wise by living and experiencing. That is what she said. Okay, so let's start. to the next question. What is the strong desire of the boy? What is his strong desire means? What is his passion inside? Okay, so how does he want his want to live his life? So here we can say that the boy wants to give a feel of life. Okay, and he wants to get he wants education to give a feel of life, and he wants to get the feel of life from education and to become a person with practical knowledge rather than a person with just theoretical knowledge. Okay, you can say the strong desire of the boy is to get a feel of life from education and to get practical knowledge and to learn life lessons by living and experiencing. This is his desire. Okay, on to the next question. Why did the boy write this letter to his father? So you can see that in the last lines. What is he saying? This is only to lighten my overburdened heart. He says he has written this letter not to compromise or not to convince his father or not to change his father's mindset. Why he has written this letter, he says, is it is to lighten his overburdened heart. Okay, what can we say? The boy writes a letter to his father to lighten his overburdened heart. Okay, the boy writes this letter to his father to lighten his overburdened heart. With this, we come to the conclusion of this session. Please subscribe our channel and share it with as many friends as possible. Yeah, so it needs a lot of hard work, a lot of efforts, and a lot of time goes in to make one video. You just need to just click the like button and please put a comment in the comment section. We'll be very glad. It really strengthens us. It gives us the energy to make the next video, and the next video. It's all in your hands to make our video a success. I believe that you'll surely do it. Now take a screenshot of this for your writing work. Hope you will share with as many friends as possible. Thank you for watching.